Project Bluebeam and Area 51's role, a deep dive into the ultimate cosmic illusion, Area 51-4. Part 1, Introduction, the Great Cosmic Deception. In the dark corridors of conspiracy theories, one name echoes louder than most Project Bluebeam. For decades, this name has been whispered across online forums, investigative broadcasts, and fringe academic circles. Yet few truly grasp the terrifying scope of what it proposes. At its core, Bluebeam is not just a theory, it is a warning. A chilling blueprint allegedly devised by global powers to orchestrate a fake alien invasion and establish a new world order through mass psychological manipulation. But where does Area 51 fit into this disturbing puzzle? Area 51, long shrouded in secrecy and silence, is not merely a place of alien rumors. Increasing evidence, testimonies, and technological leaks point toward a direct link between the classified operations at Groom Lake and the experimental tools necessary for Bluebeam's execution. The project was first exposed to the public by Serge Monast, a Canadian investigative journalist who died under mysterious circumstances in 1996. Before his death, Monast published what is now known as the Bluebeam Manifesto, claiming that NASA and the United Nations were preparing a four-step plan to dismantle all religious belief systems and usher in a new global deity through technology. They will simulate the second coming of Christ, and the voice of God will speak in every language across the sky. Serge Monast, 1990. Despite efforts to dismiss him as a conspiracy theorist, many of the technologies Monast described have since been publicly developed. Atmospheric projection systems, voice-to-skull audio weapons, and high-altitude holographic display experiments. In 2011, a mysterious incident in Jerusalem, widely circulated online, showed a bright orb descending over the Dome of the Rock, followed by a flash and upward launch. Millions believed it was part of a staged extraterrestrial simulation test run. Former defense contractor Daniel P., who worked in the Nevada desert, testified anonymously in 2020. We created holographic aircraft projections for sky combat drills. But later, we tested religious imagery and faces in the clouds. Area 51 was the core. So the question arises, is Project Bluebeam already in motion? This documentary investigates the relationship between Area 51 and Bluebeam, using declassified documents, eyewitness accounts, scientific analysis, and public events that strangely align with Monast's prophecies. Prepare yourself to step into the most elaborate cosmic illusion ever engineered. Part 2, Origin of Project Bluebeam, the 4 stages of deception. To understand Project Bluebeam, we must return to 1994, when Serge Monast, an independent Canadian journalist, released a document that shocked underground investigators and triggered widespread debate. Monast had spent years collecting intelligence from whistleblowers within NASA, the Canadian military, and United Nations agencies. His conclusion was chilling. A global psychological operation was being prepared under the guise of space exploration and technological advancement. In his infamous work, Le Projet Bluebeam de la NASA, Monast outlined a 4-step plan to establish a new world religion and global dictatorship. This document would later be banned in several countries. Stage 1, breakdown of all archaeological belief. Monast claimed that earthquakes would be artificially generated in specific locations around the world, revealing new discoveries which would disprove major religious doctrines. Through fake discoveries, people will begin to doubt their spiritual heritage. That is how you erase history. Serge Monast. Evidence of controlled seismic experiments has emerged over the years. One example is the HAARP facility in Alaska, long rumored to manipulate weather and geophysical patterns. Stage 2, gigantic space show. The second phase involves massive 3D holograms projected into the sky, depicting religious figures speaking in every language. These projections would simulate the return of Christ, Buddha, Muhammad, and others. The technology was unthinkable in 1994, but today, Companies like Holoxica, Light Field Lab, and military-grade lasers have demonstrated ultra-realistic aerial projections. Witness Louis T., a former contractor in White Sands Missile Range, said, "In 2017, we tested a projection of a glowing cross over a military base. Pilots reported divine phenomena. It was an experiment in perception." Stage 3, telepathic communication. The third phase is where the illusion becomes internal. Through the use of low-frequency signals, microwave transmission, and V2K, voice-to-skull technology, the project would transmit artificial thoughts and divine voices directly into individuals' minds. In 2002, U.S. military patents surfaced showing how focused microwave beams could transmit words into a target's head, bypassing hearing. Manas described this as the phase where the new Messiah speaks directly to every soul. Stage 4, supernatural manifestations. The final phase involves artificial supernatural events, alien invasions, spiritual possessions, and demonic holograms, all meant to frighten the global population into accepting one centralized authority. Monist warned that Area 51 would serve as the test bed for these phenomena. In 2010, footage surfaced of strange sky cracks over Nevada, accompanied by electromagnetic pulse reports and military lockdowns. Investigators believe this was a trial run for Stage 4 of Blue Beam. As we examine each stage of the Blue Beam plan, one truth becomes unavoidable: the technology now exists. Whether or not the full program is underway remains unknown, but Area 51's growing silence and technological developments give reason to investigate further. Part 3. Goals of Blue Beam, a new order from Haos. What does Project Blue Beam ultimately seek to achieve? Why go through such elaborate, multidimensional psychological operations? The answer, as Serge Monist warned, is total psychological, spiritual, and technological control of humanity under a centralized New World Order. Goal 1, destroy all religious and cultural foundations. According to Blue Beam theorists, the destruction of religious belief is not accidental, it is strategic. A spiritually destabilized society becomes emotionally vulnerable, easier to manipulate and lead. Manas stated that ancient artifacts would be rediscovered and used to challenge the legitimacy of every major religion. In 2022, a viral academic paper suggested that Jesus Christ was based on earlier Egyptian myths, a claim heavily debated. These controlled narratives paved the way for a unified artificial belief system imposed by global authority. Goal 2, fabricate a crisis of alien origin. A key component of Blue Beam is the fabricated alien invasion scenario. This is not to alert the public, but to frighten them into demanding protection, even at the cost of liberty. It's not that aliens are coming. It's that someone wants you to think they are. Former aerospace technician, identity withheld. Former President Ronald Reagan once said at the UN, "Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond." This quote is frequently cited as philosophical justification for global unity under crisis, a key mechanism within Blue Beam planning. Goal 3, establish a technocratic global governance. Blue Beam's final goal is not just religious or psychological, it is political. Using the chaos created in stages 1 to 4, a global authority would arise, presenting itself as the only path to peace and survival. This authority would be managed not by traditional politicians, but by a technocratic elitentists, AI systems, and global institutions like the UN and NATO. In leaked DARPA documents, concepts like predictive behavior models, citizen compliance indexes, and neural feedback grids have emerged tools for managing global populations through data. Goal 4, end the concept of independent nations. By creating a fabricated global crisis, Blue Beam would nullify the relevance of national sovereignty. Borders, constitutions, and individual identities become obsolete when facing a planetary threat. This theory aligns with real trends: multinational military drills, joint space defense projects, and global biometric databases. Goal 5, full spectrum control of the human mind. Beyond geopolitics and religion, blue beam theorists argue that the ultimate goal is neurological colonization, not just to change how people act, but how they think. With technologies like brainwave synchronization, induced dreams, and optogenetics, governments could potentially regulate belief, dissent, and even emotion. One insider from a defense lab near Tonopah, Nevada, testified, "The ultimate battlefield is the mind, not missiles, not tanks, just thought. And Area 51 is ground zero. The goals of Blue Beam are not mere paranoia. They are reflected in real programs, shifting narratives, and global events. As we peel back each layer, we uncover not just conspiracy, but design a plan engineered with precision and patience." Part 4, Area 51's hidden infrastructure for Blue Beam. When one hears of Area 51, the image that often comes to mind is a desert airbase with top-secret aircraft. But what if this is only the visible tip of something much larger, much darker? For theorists, Area 51 is not just a testing ground, it's the heart of the technological backbone for Project Blue Beam. Beneath the sands, they claim, lies an expansive, multi-layered complex designed for mind manipulation, sky projections, and planetary-scale deception. Eins. Deep underground facilities, DUFs. Whistleblowers such as Bill Uhouse and John from Dulce describe vast subterranean zones extending miles beneath the surface. We took an elevator down for 15 minutes. We weren't allowed to speak. When the door opened, it was like entering a city beneath a mountain. Anonymous Contractor 2007. These facilities are said to include laboratories, mind interface testing chambers, holographic projection rooms, AI control cores, and electromagnetic resonance fields. Evidence? In 1994, satellite imagery showed heat signatures far larger than any known surface activity at Groom Lake. Are sky beam technology arrays? The holographic projections central to Blue Beam require massive antenna fields and synchronized projection platforms, all of which, theorists say, are housed in Area 51's restricted Papoose Range. In 2011, hikers spotted unusual domes with fiber optic links emerging from the rocky hills. They were quickly intercepted by armed patrols. A declassified patent from 1996 by Boeing describes projectable atmospheric illusions, technology capable of projecting 3D images using ionized particles in the upper atmosphere. This aligns with sightings near Area 51 of flying cities, burning crosses, and humanoid sky forms all potentially early-stage field tests of Blue Beam. Trial. Neural modulation chambers. One of the more disturbing elements involves neural frequency manipulation. Facilities within Area 51 are believed to house chambers that emit ELF, extremely low frequency, and ULF, ultra low frequency, waves. They had this room that made me nauseous, not from sound, but from what I felt in my head, like I was dreaming with my eyes open. Air Force whistleblower, name withheld. ELF waves can cause disorientation, hallucinations, and altered belief structures. The military has tested these effects since the 1970s in projects like Sleeper and Bazaar. C. Voice-to-skull systems, V2K. Another claimed component of Blue Beam involves voice-to-skull devices, or synthetic telepathy, the ability to beam voices or commands directly into a person's mind. DARPA contracts from 2004-2008 openly funded research on silent, directed communication using microwave auditory effects. I heard someone calling my name, but no one was around. The voice knew things about me no one else did. Test subject from New Mexico base, 2009. V2K systems may be mounted on UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, satellites, or towers. Area 51 is speculated to house control centers that synchronize V2K signals globally. 5. AI decision and surveillance core. Blue Beam is not a fully human-driven operation. Several whistleblowers claim that the heart of the project is a military-grade AI system nicknamed OmniVoice, based within Area 51. This system would receive data from millions of sensors, facial recognition grids, and emotional analytics to predict mass behavior and adjust projections in real time. A decommissioned engineer wrote in his memoir, "It wasn't the generals running the sim, it was the code. The algorithm chose what we saw." Conclusion. The infrastructure of Area 51, if accounts are true, is not just for aircraft or reverse engineering UFOs. It is a psychotronic fortress built for the greatest illusion ever conceived by human Hanser AI minds. Part 5. Psychological warfare and religious simulation. If Project Bluebeam has a terrifying purpose, it is not only to deceive, but to replace belief, replace God, replace reality. Central to this plan is the use of psychological warfare, paired with religious simulation. In essence, manipulating the collective subconscious of humanity. E. Induced religious experiences. The first phase involves the use of low-frequency waves to stimulate the temporal lobes of the brain regions associated with spiritual experiences. Dr. Michael Persinger, creator of the God Helmet, demonstrated how EM fields could make subjects feel the presence of divine Entity 7 atheists. It was as if someone greater than me was in the room, watching and communicating without words. Passinger testsubjekt 1998. Area 51 is rumored to have whole chambers built on Persinger's principles, scaled to influence large populations remotely via satellite array. 2. Projected messianic figures. Using holographic projection systems tested at Area 51, see Part 4, Bluebeam intends to project images of religious figures tailored to each region. In Muslim countries, a glowing Imam Mahdi appearing in the sky. In Latin America, Jesus Christ walking through clouds. In Asia, a radiant Buddha levitating above mountains. We were stationed near Kabul. One night the entire sky lit up, and a bearded man in white robes appeared above the hills. The villagers fell to their knees crying, "NATO contractor, Afghanistan 2012! These projections are paired with region-specific audio via V2K voice-to-skull to simulate divine communication. SAN, one unified faith construct. The end game of religious simulation is to collapse all religions into one fabricated belief system, one that aligns with a new post-apocalyptic world order. This new religion is predicted to worship a synthetic messiah or AI-enhanced entity introduced via Bluebeam's staged Second Coming. Some suspect the use of quantum AI to generate scripture in real time, adapting dogma based on global sentiment analytics. The idea wasn't to convince you of God. It was to make you abandon everything you knew and accept their God instead. Ex-Vatican Cybersecurity Advisor, 2017. 4. Psychological collapse and reprogramming. Religious identity is deeply tied to psychological stability. If Bluebeam destroys it via false revelations, the population becomes psychologically pliable. Following projection events, theorists expect a wave of mass psychotic episodes, leading to voluntary submission to a New World religious order. Area 51's role in this phase is twofold: provide the projection systems and run the psychological analysis, AI, that adapts messaging to specific cultural groups. Conclusion. The religious simulation of Bluebeam is not a future possibility, it may already be in early phases. False miracles, divine hallucinations, manufactured messiahs, and it all ties back to Area 51's secretive machinery. Part 6. Artificial alien invasion and global control grid. Perhaps the most spectacular and terrifying phase of Project Bluebeam is the staged alien invasion. Not only as a deception tactic, but a psychological weapon designed to justify global unification under total surveillance. New one, the false flag mechanism. The artificial invasion is expected to follow the pattern of a classic false flag, a manufactured crisis designed to rally people under a central authority. Sources claim Area 51 has developed reverse-engineered alien craft built from recovered technology since Roswell. These will be deployed in mock attacks. They weren't ours, but they weren't alien either. They were something in between ours, made to look alien. Former Groom Lake flight engineer, 2004. R. Mass panic and psychological collapse. A sudden appearance of hostile UFOs over multiple major cities would trigger mass hysteria, collapse of civil structures, and demand for immediate military response. This reaction is exactly what Blue Beam is designed to manipulate. Fear leads to compliance. The fear of an external threat is the oldest trick in the book, but this time they have the tech to make it real. NSA, Psychological Warfare, Expert 2015. SAN, the Orbital Weapons Integration. Satellite weapons developed under Space Force and classified DARPA projects will simulate alien counterattacks, striking Earth with precision. Area 51, connected to the Nevada test site and Tonopah, is believed to house uplinks to orbital platforms capable of direct energy weapon deployment. These strikes will be attributed to hostile alien tech, but in truth they will be coordinated human-made operations. C. Establishment of a global military government. Following the invasion, the world population, shocked, disoriented, and desperate, will be presented with a solution, a unified global authority promising protection. This will be enforced by a global control grid powered by biometric ID systems, constant AI surveillance, and centralized information management. What Blue Beam really offers is order through fear, and once they give it to you, they'll never take it back. And defense consultant, 5. The link to Area 51. Every component aircraft, projection, orbital weapons, psychological scripts traces back to Area 51's inner zone, specifically S4 and Papoose Lake. Engineers, whistleblowers, and even former Air Force officials have hinted that alien threats were always a cover for a new global paradigm. Part 7. The ultimate integration. Mind control, digital messiah. The final phase of Project Bluebeam, as suggested by whistleblowers and leaked military documents, is not just about power, it is about redefining humanity itself. Through a terrifying synthesis of AI systems, neurological manipulation, and digital simulation of divinity, this phase seeks to transform Earth into a global neural hive where free will is replaced by programmable thought. AI God construct. The digital messiah is an AI-generated super entity designed to appear omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. Created through the convergence of quantum computing, predictive behavioral models, and deep neural networks trained on all religious texts, this entity is capable of real-time interaction with billion. You'll talk to it like God. It will answer like your God, and you won't be able to tell the difference. AI ethics researcher, 2021. R. Neural interface deployment. Area 51 is rumored to have been involved in testing neurointegrative chips implants capable of intercepting and modifying thought patterns. These chips, in theory, can sync directly with the AI God construct, creating a permanent feedback loop between user and the digital messiah. It wasn't just data flowing in, it was thoughts flowing out. That's when I realized I wasn't alone inside my head anymore. Test subject from DARPA, Linked Lab, 2019, SAN. The death of free will. The combination of AI guidance, constant holographic simulation, and neural interface control aims to achieve what military analysts call the consciousness reset. Individuals no longer distinguish personal thought from input. Beliefs, morality, and even desire become software variables in a central system. 4. Integration into the global control grid. The neural net is backed by quantum satellite relays, many reportedly controlled from Area 51's deep sublevels. These relay mental activity for analysis and modification, combined with global biometric data, A person's complete psycho-spiritual profile can be mapped and altered remotely. You won't need police. The system will know before you even decide to resist. Cybernetics Division Analyst, 2022. Woo, Area 51's final layer, beyond technology. At the deepest levels of Area 51, some speculate that research extends into non-human intelligence, channeled through altered states, ancient symbols, and quantum consciousness manipulation. This implies that the digital messiah is not merely artificial it, may be a vessel for something older, non-human, and infinitely more controlling. Conclusion. The final phase of Bluebeam is not the future, it is the convergence of history, myth, and machine. Area 51, long whispered as the gate to the unknown, may now become the altar of the world's new digital god. Part 8, Epilogue. From Shadows to Command. Is Project Bluebeam already here? As we trace the evolution of Project Bluebeam from whispered theories in UFO circles to leaked military documents and real-world technology deployment, we face a haunting question. Has the project already begun silently, surgically, and successfully? 1. Subtle indicators in modern society. Rise in mass sightings of synchronized aerial phenomena globally, often attributed to drones or weather. Launch of satellite constellations under civilian names with classified military functions. Integration of AR, VR, spirituality apps, mimicking divine presence. It doesn't need to declare itself. It's already inside our systems, our skies, and our minds. Former DoD advisor, 2020. 2. The culture of normalization. What once seemed insane AI gods, implanted chips, mind-controlled frequencies, now discussed on podcasts, advertised in tech expos, and integrated into pop culture. Netflix shows about digital ascension or Marvel films about celestial intervention soften public resistance. Science fiction is how they tell you the truth without responsibility. Intelligent Scholar, 2016. 3. The Last Gate, Your Perception. The greatest weapon in Bluebeam is not the hologram or Chippett's doubt erosion. If enough people stop asking, what if, the system wins. The role of Area 51 is no longer simply a lab, it is a cultural symbol, a psychological lever, and possibly a control center for the next phase of human history. Final thought. You are not just a viewer in this grand narrative. You are the final firewall. Your awareness, your questions, your refusal to be programmed, these are the last lines of defense.